Hey guys, today I am with a special guest, this man right here, rated R, superstar, Adam Copeland. Hey.
Hey pal, how's it going?
Why did you leave the WWE?
I made the decision to step away from WWE for a few reasons. First and foremost, I wanted to take some time to focus on my family and my health. Being a professional wrestler takes a toll on your body, and I wanted to make sure I was taking care of myself both physically and mentally. Additionally, I was looking for new creative challenges and opportunities to explore. I'm grateful for my time in WWE and the amazing memories I have from my time there, but I'm excited to see what the future holds.
Since you make your big AEW debut, are you more happy?
I'm definitely thrilled to be making my AEW debut. The energy in the company is incredible, and I'm excited to be part of such a talented roster of wrestlers. AEW has a great vision for the future of professional wrestling, and I'm honored to be a part of it. Plus, the opportunity to work with some of the best wrestlers in the world and continue to challenge myself in the ring is a dream come true. So yeah, I'm very happy.
How meet Beth Phoenix?
I first met Beth Phoenix when we were both training to become professional wrestlers. We were both attending the same wrestling school in Toronto, and we quickly became friends and training partners. We spent countless hours in the gym and in the ring, pushing each other to become better wrestlers and supporting each other along the way. Over time, our friendship deepened, and we realized that we had feelings for each other. We started dating shortly thereafter, and the rest, as they say, is history.
You have two daughters, Lyric and Ruby.
Yes, that's correct. My wife, Beth Phoenix, and I are proud parents of two beautiful daughters, Lyric and Ruby. Both of our girls are the light of our lives, and we love spending time with them.
You was in Interrogation. You play as Lucas Nolan.
That's correct. In the film Interrogation, I played the role of Lucas Nolan, a detective investigating a mysterious case. The movie follows the investigation, which takes a dark turn as Lucas and his partner, Detective Hoffman, uncover a web of deceit and corruption that threatens their investigation.
What the funniest scene with Fraser Corbett and Bob Fraser?
There were so many funny moments on set with Fraser and Bob. One that stands out in my mind is when we were filming a scene that required us to sprint down a long hallway. Fraser and Bob both have a great sense of humor and are known for their physical comedy. As we were running down the hall, they both started doing these exaggerated runner's strides and making silly faces. It was impossible not to burst out laughing. We had to reshoot that scene a few times because we kept breaking into giggles.
What the hardest scene? Zachary Golka.
The hardest scene to film with Zachary Golka was definitely the final confrontation scene. It required a lot of physical and emotional intensity, and both of us had to completely immerse ourselves in the moment. We had to fully commit to the scene and leave everything on the table, which was exhausting, but also incredibly satisfying. It took a lot of takes to get it just right, but in the end, I think we both felt proud of the final result.
Who the idea of Rated R Superstar?
The idea for the Rated R Superstar character was a collaborative effort between myself and the creative team at WWE. At the time, I was looking for a new character direction that would set me apart from other wrestlers, and the Rated R Superstar character was born. The idea was to create a more edgy and provocative persona for me to portray in the ring. It was inspired by my real-life personality, but cranked up a few notches. The character was popular with fans and ended up becoming a defining aspect of my career in WWE.
Where did you come out the idea for the Judgment Day, WWE?
Yes, I did come up with the idea for the Judgment Day group in WWE. The Judgment Day is a villainous stable consisting of myself, Damian Priest, Finn Balor, and Rhea Ripley. Together, we wreak havoc and cause chaos in the WWE locker room. The idea for the group came from my desire to form a strong, cohesive unit that could rival the top factions in the company. We have a great chemistry and play off each other really well, both in the ring and on the mic. It's been a lot of fun to be a part of the Judgment Day.
Do you have many memories from your time in WWE?
I have many memories from my time in WWE, but some of the standout moments include winning the World Heavyweight Championship, being part of the iconic Rated RKO team with Randy Orton, having memorable feuds with opponents like John Cena and Rey Mysterio, participating in some of the biggest events in WWE history, like the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, becoming a 6-time world champion, forming the Judgment Day group in WWE.
What your thought, Kiss leader?
My thoughts on kissing Lita during our on-screen storylines were mixed. On one hand, it was a great opportunity to explore a romantic storyline on television, and it definitely added an extra level of drama and tension to our matches and interactions. However, on the other hand, it was also a little uncomfortable at times, since we were not a couple in real life and had to act out those romantic moments in front of a live audience and millions of viewers at home. Despite that, I tried to give it my all and make our on-screen relationship as believable and entertaining as possible.
Do you miss the old gimmick Edge from your real life name to Adam Copeland?
Sometimes I do miss the old gimmick of Edge, particularly the feeling of having a larger-than-life character to step into when I was in the ring. Edge was a more extreme version of myself, and it was fun to play that character and connect with fans in that way. However, as I've grown and evolved over the years, I think it's also been important for me to embrace my real life and connect with fans in a more authentic way. I think there are definitely aspects of the Edge character that will always be a part of me, but I'm also happy to be moving forward as Adam Copeland.
Are you more proud of AEW than WWE?
Honestly, I'm proud of my career in both WWE and AEW for different reasons. WWE was the place where I first made a name for myself and had some of the greatest moments of my career, so I'm definitely proud of my time there. But working in AEW has also been an amazing experience, and I'm proud to be a part of such a talented roster and great company. So it's tough to say which one I'm more proud of, as both companies have played a huge role in shaping me as a wrestler and entertainer.
Would there be a tag team reunion with Christian Cage?
A reunion with Christian Cage is definitely something I would be open to. Our history and chemistry, both in the ring and on the mic, is undeniable, and I think it would be a lot of fun to team up again for at least one more run. Christian and I have talked about it before, and while nothing is set in stone, it's definitely something we're both interested in if the opportunity arises.
You and Christian Cage vs. the Young Buck.
The idea of a Hell in a Cell match between Christian Cage and I against the Young Bucks is definitely exciting. The tension and history between all of us would make for a highly charged and intense atmosphere, both inside and outside the ring. A Hell in a Cell match would allow for some brutal spots and high-stakes storytelling, and I think it would be an unforgettable experience for both the wrestlers involved and the fans watching. Plus, having the match in AEW would provide us with a fresh canvas for our rivalry and give us the opportunity to reach an even broader audience. I'm sure the Young Bucks would bring their best game, and it would be a battle for the ages. I'd definitely be up for it.
Do you have a favorite place one day?
That's a tough question, as I've been fortunate enough to wrestle all over the world and in some amazing venues. From iconic arenas like Madison Square Garden and the Staples Center to smaller places with great energy like the Hammerstein Ballroom and Wembley Arena in London. But if I had to pick one favorite, I'd have to say the Ryco Coliseum in my hometown of Toronto. There's just something special about wrestling in front of your friends and family, and the energy in that building is always incredible.
Did wife help you sing You Think You Know Him?
Yes, my wife, Beth Phoenix, has helped me with singing my entrance theme, Metalingus. She's an incredibly talented singer and has a great ear for music, so she's been able to give me valuable feedback and help me nail down the perfect arrangement and delivery. Having her by my side and supporting me in this way has been a huge blessing, and I'm grateful for her input and guidance.
And you're now 51 years old. How do you feel now you still fighting for AEW to this day?
I feel incredibly grateful and fortunate to still be able to compete at this age. At 51, I'm definitely aware that my time in the wrestling ring may be limited and that Father Time catches up with us all eventually. But as long as I'm physically able, I'll keep fighting and doing my best to entertain the fans every time I step through those ropes. AEW has provided me with a platform to continue doing what I love, and I'm determined to make the most of it while I can.
What's the worst injury that you did?
I've had a few nasty injuries over the years, but one of the worst was a torn Achilles tendon that I suffered in 2008. It was a devastating blow and forced me to take some time off from wrestling. The recovery process was long and grueling, and there were times when I wasn't sure if I'd ever be able to wrestle again, but with the help of my amazing doctors and my own determination, I was able to make a full recovery and return to the ring.
Do you remember what you surprise return in the Royal Rumble 2020.
Yes, I remember my surprise return in the Royal Rumble 2020 vividly. It was a memorable moment that caught both the wrestlers and the fans off guard. The look on Randy Orton's face when I stepped into the ring was priceless, and the roar of the crowd was indescribable. It was an intense and electrifying experience that I'll never forget. It was definitely a special moment for me personally, as it had been a few years since I had been in the ring, and it was a great feeling to be back doing what I love. The fact that it happened at the Royal Rumble, one of the biggest events in WWE, made it even more meaningful. Overall, it was a great way to kick off a new chapter in my career, and I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to make such a memorable return.
What is your opinion about Vince McMahon?
My personal opinion about Vince McMahon is mixed. On one hand, he has been a hugely influential figure in the world of professional wrestling and has helped to shape it into the global phenomenon it is today. His vision and business acumen have made WWE one of the most successful companies in entertainment. On the other hand, there have been numerous reports and allegations of his personal behavior, and his treatment of some wrestlers has been less than pleasant. Overall, I have a certain level of respect for him due to his accomplishments, but also some reservations due to his reputation.
Role as Dwight Hendrickson in the sci-fi series Haven.
Yes, I had a recurring role as Dwight Hendrickson in the sci-fi series Haven. From 2012 to 2015, I played a U.S. Marshal who was tasked with protecting the town of Haven from supernatural phenomena. It was a great experience, and I really enjoyed working on the show, especially with the talented cast and crew.
What the funniest moment with Lucas Bryant?
There were many funny moments with Lucas Bryant on the set of Haven. One that stands out in my mind is when we were shooting a scene that involved the two of us arguing intensely. As soon as the director called cut, we both burst out laughing at how ridiculous and over the top the fight had become. We had to take a few minutes to compose ourselves before continuing with the scene. Working with Lucas was always a pleasure, and we had many memorable moments on set together.
What the hardest scene with Richard Donner?
One scene that stands out in my mind as being quite challenging was a scene where my character, Dwight, had to interrogate Richard Donner's character, James Cogan, about the supernatural nature of Haven. It was a tense and dramatic scene that required a lot of intensity and emotional investment from both of us. I remember really having to dig deep to bring the necessary gravitas to the scene, and it was definitely a test of my acting skills at the time. Despite the challenges, I ultimately feel proud of the way the scene turned out.
You was in Highlander Endgame. You play as Lachlan.
Yes, I was in Highlander Endgame, playing the role of Lachlan. I was a warrior from the past who was resurrected to fight alongside other immortals in a battle for survival. The film was a unique blend of action and fantasy, and it was a great experience to be a part of.
What your work with Bruce Payne?
Working with Bruce Payne on Highlander Endgame was a pleasure. Bruce is an incredibly talented actor and brought a lot of intensity and charisma to his portrayal of Xavier St. Cloud. We had some great scenes together, and I really enjoyed working with him. Even though the film was a bit over the top, it was a fun experience, and working with Bruce was definitely one of the highlights.
What the funniest scene with Christopher Lambert?
There were many funny moments on set with Christopher Lambert in Highlander Endgame. One scene that stands out in my mind is when our characters were having a serious conversation and trying to strategize, but we couldn't stop laughing at each other's terrible accents. We ended up having to reshoot the scene several times because we kept bursting into laughter every time we heard each other speak. Despite the challenges, it was a fun scene to shoot, and it brought us closer together as friends and actors.
Fate with the hardest scene with Donnie Yen.
One of the hardest scenes to shoot in Highlander Endgame was the big fight scene between my character and Donnie Yen's character, Methos. It involved a lot of intense stunt choreography and wire work, and it was physically demanding for both of us. We had to rehearse the scene extensively before shooting to ensure that everything went smoothly, and even then it was a challenge. But ultimately, the end result was worth the effort, and it was a blast to film.
What your childhood?
My childhood was fairly normal and unremarkable, to be honest. I grew up in a small town in Ontario, Canada, and spent most of my time playing sports and hanging out with friends. My parents were hardworking and supportive, and I had a close-knit group of friends. I didn't have any particularly memorable or defining experiences during my childhood, but I look back on it fondly and am grateful for the stable foundation it provided for me.
Why Rated RKO team broke up?
The reason why the Rated RKO team broke up is well documented. There were a number of factors at play, but ultimately it came down to Orton's decision to betray Edge and go solo. In the storyline, Orton's character had grown increasingly resentful of Edge's dominance in their partnership, feeling that he was being overshadowed and not given fair treatment. This led to the infamous punt incident in which Orton attacked and seriously injured Edge, effectively ending their team.
WWE Backlash 2005 U versus Chris Benoit. Last man standing match.
The WWE Backlash 2005 match between myself and Chris Benoit was a brutal and intense last man standing match. The rules of the match were simple. The first wrestler to get to their feet after a 10 count would win. The match was a brutal back and forth battle with both myself and Benoit pulling out all the stops to try and keep the other one down. In the end, I managed to come out on top thanks to a quick thinking move that kept Benoit down for the full 10 count. It was a hard fought victory and one that I'll never forget.
You vs. Chris Jericho, January 3, 2005 Raw. Did you like this match?
The match between me and Chris Jericho on Raw in January 2005 was a real barn burner. Jericho is an amazing performer in the ring, and we had great chemistry together. It was a hard-hitting and action-packed match with some innovative spots and creative near falls. In the end, I was able to pull out the victory, which was a great feeling. Overall, it was a memorable match and one that I look back on fondly.
AJ vs. The Undertaker World Heavyweight Title Match, WrestleMania XXID.
My match with The Undertaker at WrestleMania T4 for the World Heavyweight Championship was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. The atmosphere was electric and the stakes were high. The match was a true battle of wills and showcased both our physical and mental strength. The back-and-forth action was intense, and the crowd was on their feet the whole time. In the end, I was able to secure the victory and become the new World Heavyweight Champion. It was a moment that I will never forget, and I look back on it with pride.
Roman Reigns vs. Universal Title Match, WWB Money in the Bank 2021.
The Universal Title match between Roman Reigns and myself at Money in the Bank 2021 was a hard-hitting and intense affair. Both of us had a lot on the line, and we gave everything we had to secure the victory. It was a back-and-forth battle, with both of us bringing our best and most devastating moves to the table. In the end, Roman Reigns was able to come out on top and retain the Universal title. Despite the loss, I'm proud of the effort I put into the match, and I look forward to future opportunities to compete for the championship.
You vs. Sheamus SmackDown ARD 18 2023.
The match between myself and Sheamus on SmackDown in August 2023 was a hard-hitting and action-packed bout. We both came out swinging and traded blows early on, setting the tone for an intense and physical match. The crowd was hot and we fed off their energy, dishing out stiff shots and high-impact moves. In the end, I was able to secure the victory thanks to a well-timed maneuver and precise execution. It was a great match, and I look forward to facing off against Sheamus again in the future.
Dudley's vs. Hardy's vs. You and Christian TLC match, WrestleMania X7.
The legendary TLC match at WrestleMania X7 between the Dudley Boys, the Hardy Boys, and myself and Christian is still talked about to this day. It was a high-flying, high-energy contest with all six of us bringing our best game to the ring. We pulled out all the stops, busting out death-defying moves and pushing the limits of what was possible in a wrestling match. In the end, me and Christian managed to pull off the upset and won the match. A moment that I'll never forget.
You vs. John Cena, the greatest rivalry ever.
My rivalry with John Cena is known as the greatest rivalry ever for a reason. It was a long and intense feud that pushed both of us to our limits and showcased some of the best matches and moments of our careers. The intensity and passion between us was undeniable, and the fans were riveted by every encounter we had. Over the course of several years, we engaged in some of the most memorable and defining matches in WWE history, cementing our place as one of the greatest rivalries of all time.
You vs. Jeff Hardy World Heavyweight Title Ladder Match, WWE Extreme Rules 2009.
The World Heavyweight Title ladder match against Jeff Hardy at Extreme Rules 2009 was a high-stakes affair. We had both fought hard to get to that point, and we both knew what was on the line. The ladder match format allowed for all kinds of crazy and dangerous moments, and we didn't hold back. In the end, I was able to secure the victory and retain the World Heavyweight Championship thanks to a last-minute twist of fate. It was a hard-fought and exciting match, and one I'll always remember fondly.
Do you remember this moment? You literally spear Mankind through a flaming table.
Oh yeah, that moment is forever burned into my memory. It was a legendary match against Mankind at WrestleMania 22, and the crowd's reactions were insane. When I executed the spear through the flaming table, the whole stadium erupted. It's one of those moments that I'll always look back on with pride.
UVS, Grayson Waller, SmackDown, July 7, 2023.
The match between myself and Grayson Waller on SmackDown in July 2023 was an intense and hard-hitting affair. We both came out swinging, and the match was fast-paced from the get-go. Waller brought a unique brand of physicality to the ring that kept me on my toes throughout the bout. Despite him being a relative newcomer to the WWE, he proved himself to be a formidable opponent and pushed me to my limits. In the end, I was able to come out on top, but not without a difficult battle. Bring on the next one.
Street fight for the AEW World Championship. Jon Moxley vs. you. March 19th to 25 AEW Dynamite.
The upcoming street fight on AEW Dynamite for the AEW World Championship is one of the most highly anticipated matches in recent history. My opponent, Jon Moxley, is one of the toughest competitors in the business and has proven himself time and time again as a force to be reckoned with. This match is not going to be easy, to say the least. I fully expect that both of us will be throwing everything we have at each other, and the audience can expect an intense and brutal brawl. It's going to be a war, and whoever comes out on top will have earned it.
Matt Cardona steps up to TNT champ Adam Copeland's open challenge. March 30th, 24 AEW Collision. Was you surprised?
I was very surprised when Matt Cardona accepted my open challenge for the TNT Championship on Collision that Friday night. I was ready to face whoever came out to the ring, but I certainly wasn't expecting it to be him. However, I quickly focused and realized that I couldn't underestimate him. He's a talented competitor and has proven himself in the past. Despite his recent absence from wrestling, he came to the ring ready to fight and put up a tough battle. In the end, I was able to come out on top, but not without a fight.
Do you remember Jerosuk yourself, you vs. Christian Cage complete feud?
Oh, I definitely recall the intense and heated feud between me and Christian Cage. The tension between us was palpable, and it culminated in a memorable exchange where I told him, "Go f*** yourself." It was a moment that defined our rivalry and added another layer of intensity to our matches and interactions. We were two friends and former tag team partners turned bitter enemies, and the tension between us was always there. Despite our differences, we eventually found a way to put aside our differences and reconcile.
June 16 aired June 22 against Jose Estrada Jr. Ended prematurely by countout when you performed a somersault from the ring to the outside, legitimately injuring Estrada's neck.
Yes, I remember the match against Jose Estrada Jr. on June 16, 2022, which ended prematurely due to a countout when I performed a somersault senton from the ring to the outside. Unfortunately, I accidentally injured Estrada's neck during the move, and that ended the match prematurely. It was a difficult moment, and I felt terrible that I caused an injury to my opponent, even though it was not intentional.
Well, Adam Copeland, thanks for coming. Take care.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure to answer your questions. Before I go, I just want to say thank you to my fans for their continued support. You guys mean the world to me. To my beautiful wife, I love you with all my heart. To my amazing kids, Lyric and Ruby, I love you both so much. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, RatedRCope, and on Twitter. Also, stay safe and don't fall for scams. Remember, I have a blue check mark, so don't listen to any fake accounts trying to imitate me. Keep supporting me.